So this is the second installment. So let's look at actual physiology of the endocrine system. So when we discuss hormones or endocrine system, we always put a nervous system together with the endocrine system. So let's say you have a target organ, right? Here's the kidney. And we have a endocrine system, that's blood. So the endocrine system is a highway. Nervous system is a one-way route directly to the target organ. So with the neuron, right, so we can send an electrical impulse and we can stimulate target organ, and that organ will release a particular hormone if you need it, but that's pretty fast. One stimulus, one action. That's it. And you have to constantly stimulate the target organ in order to release a particular hormone. If this is the kidney, we can release through the axon, through the action potential, we can release a hormone. So the nervous system acts on the organ, and in response you release a hormone. It's pretty fast. Not the speed of light, but it's pretty fast just because of the short distance from the brain to the kidney, let's say, right? So the kidney here is the adrenal gland. Let's say you want to control the blood pressure, right? You need to do this instantaneously. But then you want this prolonged effect. This is very short. Endocrine system, from the same organ, from the same brain, for example, now you're releasing hormone. Hormone is a regulatory substance. It's a molecule. So it gets into the blood. And whatever target organs, tissues that have a receptor that can accept this hormone, right, will be stimulated. Right here is one organ, and you need this one direct route to this organ. Here in blood, you don't have to. You can release hundreds of hormones at once, and you will have a prolonged effect on the tissues, on neighboring organs as well, if they have a similar receptor that can accept this hormone, key and lock. You have a prolonged effect. And there's a half-life of the hormone. So let's say once you release it, hypothetically, you do not release anymore, and that hormone circulates and constantly stimulates the cells to produce something. We need to release hormone to increase secretion, decrease secretion, open channels, closed channels. So this is side-by-side nervous system and endocrine system. So this is a neuronal stimulation. This is a hormonal stimulation, and there's also humoral stimulation, but that's not that important right now. So I'm gonna take as an example thyroid stimulating hormone and thyroid releasing hormone. So the thyroid releasing hormone is being released from the brain, from this hypothalamic neurons, releases thyroid stimulating hormone, and that will act on something. Target organ, right? You have a thyroid gland. Here's a brain, right? Within the brain we have thyroid releasing hormone that would be secreted into the pituitary gland, and pituitary gland has a thyroid stimulating hormone. Thyroid releasing hormone releases thyroid stimulating hormone. Thyroid stimulating hormone acts on the thyroid gland, and then thyroid gland in response releases thyroid hormones. Basically what happens, you have a gland that releases hormone, that hormone acts on the gland, and then gland releases hormone. So it's basically this thyroid stimulating hormone indirectly releases these hormones. So when you see something in the name of the hormone Tropic like this, it means that the gland that releases hormone that will act on the gland and that releases hormone, and then you get to the target organ. So it's basically one hormone that is released acts on the target tissue indirectly. But that's a basic overview of the endocrine system. Not that much, not very little. There's some learning curve. Memorization is important in this particular case. Take care.